Figured out that normal human being life expectancy will walk 275 million steps, and shoemakers were there, part of their journey and part of their humanity. And I always sort of liked that story and became part of that business and consider myself a shoe dog.
Nike, or Nike as it is known in the United States, has over the past 5 decades become one of the biggest brands in both pop culture and sport. For a company so large with such an interesting backstory, it seems unusual that its origins aren't discussed more often, especially here in the UK where the brand is extremely popular. This is a brief history of Nike's astronomical rise to worldwide success. It all started with legendary running coach Bill Bowerman and his former student Phil Knight, who founded Oregon-based sportswear brand Blue Ribbon Sports in 1964. Bowerman had always been obsessed with improving athletes' shoes, and Knight was the first to try a pair of his customised running shoes. Former Olympian Otis Davis also claims that he won the 400-metre dash at the 1960 Olympics wearing a pair of Bowerman's customised shoes. At first, the pair sold shoes imported from foreign countries, such as Tiger, a Japanese brand that Bowerman saw as cheaper yet high-quality alternative to brands such as Adidas and Puma. After success selling the shoes from his car, Bowerman and Knight opened their first Blue Ribbon Sports store in 1966. In the following year, Bowerman adapted one of Tiger's shoes and called it the Tiger Cortez. This, however, is where relations between the two brands began to sour. The two companies went their separate ways in 1971, leading to the inevitable birth of Bowerman's own shoe brand, Nike. Following a legal battle with Tiger, the Cortez shoe became a bestseller for both brands, and to this day is the only shoe in history to become a bestseller for two different brands. Nike was born, but still needed its own logo. The iconic swoosh logo was created by design student Carolyn Davis, which has remained as the company's logo to this day. Davis was reportedly only paid $35 for her work, but in 1983 was awarded with around $1 million worth of shares in the company. They now had a name, a logo, and their own shoe, but they still didn't have any high-profile athletes wearing their gear. That is, until in 1973, Nike signed a sponsorship deal with American running hero Steve Prefontaine. At just 22 years of age, Prefontaine was an American record holder in multiple events, but that isn't what made him a hero to the American people. Prefontaine was the physical embodiment of competitiveness. He once said, "Somebody may beat me, but they're going to have to bleed to do it." Prefontaine was a major force in bringing running and athletics to the American masses, and most importantly, he did it with Bowerman and Nike at his side. Nike continued to have success as a running brand, but still weren't the fashionable, multifaceted brand they are today. They then began experimenting with air-enhanced technology in 1977 by placing tiny airbags in the soles of their shoes, an idea given to Phil Knight by aerospace engineer Marion Franklin Rudy. Nike then released their first air-cushioned shoe in 1978, the Nike Tailwind Runner. The company had already created basketball shoes, with the Blazer and Bruin being released in the early 70s, but it wasn't until the release of the Nike Air Force One in 1982 that the brand gained any real basketball credibility. Brands such as Converse and Adidas dominated the basketball scene, with the two brands sponsoring almost every high-profile player. After recording their first quarterly loss in 1984, Nike needed to regain momentum, and what was to come was undoubtedly the greatest move in the company's history.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan.
Arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan signed with the brand during his rookie season in the NBA. Nike had struck gold. Nike were not Jordan's first choice, but due to Adidas's failure to even make an offer to the young star and Converse's already star-studded lineup, Jordan was persuaded by Nike and a $7 million 5-year contract. Jordan also got his own shoe deal, which according to Jordan's agent David Falk, Nike's expectation when he signed the deal was by the end of year 4 they hoped to sell $3 million worth of shoes. Incredibly, $126 million worth were sold in the first year. Nike had finally arrived in the world of pop culture, with Air Jordans seen in TV shows, films and music videos, becoming a fashion staple from their release to the present day. Remarkably, Jordan is still Nike's most valuable asset, and in 2019 earned $130 million from his sponsorship deal. From that point on, everything changed. The world's greatest athletes now saw Nike as the world's most appealing and lucrative brand. when just a few years prior, many would have balked at the idea of signing for the brand over Adidas or Converse. With some of the most memorable and intriguing advertising campaigns, most notably the Just Do It campaign of 1988, continually investing in superstars such as Cristiano Ronaldo, Roger Federer, Tiger Woods, and too many others to even list. Nike have managed to grow from two men selling running shoes out of a car to a worldwide brand now worth an estimated $34.8 billion in just over 50 years.